Imagine a world teetering on the brink of colossal change. The 11th century, a time of conquests, crusades, and the rise of empires. As the sun sets on this era, we find ourselves amidst a global chessboard, where kingdoms and empires are the pawns. In the East, the Byzantine Empire, a beacon of art and knowledge, clings on to its former glory. Across the sea, Europe's kingdoms are awakening, spurred on by a newfound thirst for power and exploration. Meanwhile, Islamic states are rising, their influence spreading like the desert sands from the Arabian Peninsula to the shores of North Africa. The First Crusade has just etched its mark on the annals of history, establishing crusader states in the heartland of the Middle East, a move that would echo for centuries to come. In this tumultuous era, a figure arises on the horizon, destined to leave an indelible mark on history. His name is Saladin. Born in 1137 in Tikrit, modern-day Iraq, Saladin was a Kurd, a member of a distinct ethnic group straddling the borders of several modern Middle Eastern countries. His early years were not spent in Tikrit, though. Young Saladin moved to the city of Damascus, a vibrant metropolis that was a melting pot of cultures, faiths, and ideas. Here he was exposed to a rich tapestry of experiences that would indelibly mark his worldview. Saladin was not born into a vacuum. He was a product of his time, his culture, his family. His uncle, Shirkuh, a formidable military commander, took young Saladin under his wings. It was under Shirkuh's tutelage that Saladin began his military career, a journey that would lead him to become one of the most revered leaders in history. His upbringing in Damascus, his Kurdish heritage, and his early military experiences with his uncle, all these factors played a crucial role in shaping him. These formative years would shape Saladin into the military genius he was destined to become. Circumstances soon propelled Saladin from a military officer to the Sultan of Egypt and Syria. This meteoric rise began following the death of his uncle, Shirkuh. Saladin found himself inheriting the position of Vizier of Egypt, a role of significant power and influence. However, Saladin's ambitions did not stop there. While consolidating his power in Egypt, he faced significant opposition from the Fatimid Caliphate. Nonetheless, through a combination of military prowess and political acumen, Saladin managed to overcome these challenges, establishing himself as the de facto ruler of Egypt. This was just the beginning of his journey towards becoming a sultan. His eyes were set on the Crusader states. These were turbulent times, and the region was ripe for a strong leader who could unite the fragmented territories. Saladin, with his strategic mind and commanding presence, was that leader. He launched a series of campaigns against the Crusader states, which were marked by his tactical brilliance and his chivalrous conduct towards his adversaries. His eventual control over Syria was not just a military conquest, but a symbol of his ability to unify a region torn apart by conflict. He was a sultan, yes, but he was also a peacemaker, a unifier who brought together diverse cultures and religions under his rule. Saladin, however, was not just a military leader. He was a statesman who unified a fractured region under his rule. In 1187, Saladin faced off against the combined forces of the Crusader states in the Battle of Hadin. This was a pivotal clash, a moment where the tides of history would turn towards a new direction. A chess game of war on a grand scale, and Saladin was the grandmaster. Saladin's strategic brilliance shone brightly on the battlefield. He cleverly manipulated the Crusaders' movements, luring them into arid terrain, far from water sources. This move severely weakened the Crusader forces, tilting the scales in the Muslims' favor. The Crusaders, parched fatigued, were no match for Saladin's fresh and prepared army. The outcome? A resounding victory for Saladin, a turning point in the Third Crusade. But the victory at Hadin was only the prelude to an even more significant event, the capture of Jerusalem. Saladin took the city, but not in the brutal, blood-soaked manner of his predecessors. He showed an unexpected kindness, a chivalry that was rare in those brutal times. Christian inhabitants of Jerusalem were treated with respect and dignity. They were not slaughtered indiscriminately, but allowed to leave the city unharmed if they could afford a modest ransom. Those who couldn't were freed out of Saladin's own pocket. The Sultan's compassion in victory set a new precedent. In victory, Saladin demonstrated both military prowess and magnanimity, earning respect from friends and foes alike. Saladin passed away in 1193, but his legacy lived on, resonating through the annals of history. He's remembered as much for his military prowess as for his character, a chivalrous and noble adversary, even in the eyes of his enemies. The Western world saw in him an embodiment of the knightly virtues they valued: honor, courage, and a respect for the sanctity of life. In the Islamic world, Saladin became a symbol of unity and resistance, a figure who managed to consolidate various Muslim factions into a formidable force against the Crusaders. His reign also set the stage for the modern Middle East, shaping the political landscape that would evolve over the centuries. But perhaps it's his character that left the most enduring impression. His compassion, generosity, and sense of justice were legendary, making him an icon beyond the confines of his era. Saladin remains a symbol of unity and resistance, a beacon of nobility in a time of relentless conflict. His story is not just a history lesson, but a testament to the enduring power of character and conviction.